All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, people of Earth. Thinker St. James here alongside my good friend Chase Parton. And this is the free for all where we go over all of the comedy and the tragedy in the world of mixed martial arts. Chase, how the hell are you, brother?
I am doing really good. It is Friday. We had a great show on Monday. If anybody missed that, the VOD is out there. Make sure to
Yes.
go give it a like, even if you didn't catch it, or if you don't care to listen, just give it a like, leave a comment, do something. But anyway, it's now Friday and we have fights on Saturday. But before we get into those, we have a lot to talk about, I would say.
Absolutely, we do. And of course, I can bring up the blank screen. Whoa, why is it only that now? Oh, okay, here we go. I don't know
Gotcha.
why that was, but okay. Sorry about that, folks. Either way, the blank screen, the Google screen means that Chase has picked out a large selection of all of the stories of the week. I don't know about most of them. A couple I've suggested myself. So there's going to be a little bit of my input as well. But, we are going to find out together what Chase has curated for us. So, Chase, what do you want to talk about, brother?
Well, first, what I want to talk about, oh, not my search history, but
I
the
don't know if you
the
want to
thing
show
I want to
that.
talk about is the chat first. We want to shout out the chat. Beeb, Mank, thank you guys for being here so early. And of course, Mank, you actually gave out the tidbit really quick. We are on Dana Watch as of right now, guys. We are
Indeed.
on Dana White alert. If he drops news, you guys will be the first to let us know, and we'll stop the action. We'll hit the. Actually, that would be dope. We'll get an alert button one of these days.
Sure.
Do a
Yeah,
red alert
absolutely.
if we get fight news, and then we will definitely talk about it. But as of right now, we have some things that are pressing matters. And I would say the first thing we're going to get into is pretty important because Netflix said, no, we're out. So Paramount now owns Warner Bros. Or whatever the hell is going to happen here. I don't know how exactly it works, if they're just going to own them for a certain amount of years, if they just bought them out, if people went bankrupt. I don't know. Thinker, do you know anything more than I do about this?
No, I've been hearing all of the rumblings about this deal for a while now. I don't know the intricacies of the actual stipulations of it, what the terms are, and all of that. I would suspect that Warner Brothers Discovery just gets folded into Paramount. I would think, or it's either that or they keep it as a subsidiary. But either way, I mean, I don't know if this necessarily is going to touch the MMA world, but it definitely huge implications for the entertainment world in general. And what I feel about all of this, I mean, granted, we live in a very different world, a world that is changing day over day. It feels like when it comes to the intersection of entertainment and politics and all of this, but this would seem to me to be a pretty clear cut case of what should have been blocked for antitrust. I mean, like, this is now a conglomeration of a massive scale as far as the entertainment world goes. You've got basically right now already only about 5 or 6 major players in the space, your Disney and of that level. And like now you're combining even more of them. I mean, it would seem to be a consolidation of power to me.
I unfortunately am not too big into that. I do see it as a big major issue, but I know nothing's going to happen with that, so I can't really think too far into the future. I mean, nobody's going to change. If a monopoly takes over, who's going to stop it? Like
Well, I mean,
they
back
own.
in the day, the FCC would have stopped it, but now, again, with the politics being the way that they are, from what I understand, the higher ups at Paramount are very tight with the current administration.
See, and that's an interesting, input because you maybe have an experience where like that happened. In my lifetime, I can't recall an event where I was like, man, they've really stepped in and stopped that shit. Maybe you might be able to put me on the map, guys, but I'm not too socially aware when it comes to all these things. But what I would say is you should have listened to me a couple weeks ago and a couple months ago. I've been telling you guys get in on Paramount stock. This is not a business stream, guys. And of course, I got it before it was, a little lower than it is now, kind of deal. And actually, I got it when it was a little higher, is what I meant to say, and it's still lower than what I got it. But the point is you should still get on it, because if you look at the major streaming networks, I mean, the stock that they have compared to what Paramount is, and now they own another big major key portion of it. I mean, you guys got to understand that the number's only going to go up from here. So you might as well get on. If you have safe money, there it is right there.
Well, yeah, and I'd like to just reiterate, yes, this is not financial advice.
True.
Just be aware. Trade with with your own discretion, of course. But I mean, there is some logic to it for sure. And obviously, with UFC being under the Paramount umbrella now, I don't know how this is going to necessarily affect the MMA world. I mean, with the Warner Brothers properties and what we've kind of been seeing a little bit of, with at least with some sponsorship stuff as far as crossovers go with the UFC. Who knows? I mean, we talked very recently about the film that was announced, the Zack Snyder film that was going to be UFC based, with Turkey Al Sheikh being involved. I mean, does something like that end up maybe getting rolled in a little bit, or you know what I mean? Like, are more entertainment properties going to get appearances by UFC fighters, things like that? I mean, the fact that there's so much under the same umbrella as the organization, it would seem to be very easy that they could share talent and the like.
I definitely see what you're saying here. I would like to say that Warner Bros. Um, RIP, man. It is what it is. You're coming over to where we're at. I don't know what this means. Again, I don't know anything other than I placed money down on Paramount and I'm expecting it to go up. And again, this is not a financial stream, but guys, if you would listen to my gambling takes, I would say the investment takes are probably a little more, they're a little more modest, whatever the case may be. But nothing more to say on my end, really. I mean, this was just an interesting thing. I thought we would start up because it's not necessarily going to affect us, but if I was talking about it a while ago, so this is just a callback for you guys.
Yeah, well, that definitely that. And look, I mean, if you take two steps back and look at it from a bird's eye view, sports entertainment, I mean, we are we watch sport for entertainment. This is an entertainment property. Our sport of mixed martial arts, as far as the UFC goes, is on this platform. So really, it's all kind of in the same basic world. They might not be exactly connected, but you could be seeing some repercussions from it, perhaps. I mean, we'll just have to see how it all shakes out. As far as the actual property of Warner Brothers, like I said, I don't know if they're necessarily going to fold it all together or just keep it alive, like under Paramount as the parent company, but it certainly will be a new dynamic for that. And there are a lot of entertainment properties attached to Warner Brothers. So, just be prepared for the shakeups as far as all that goes.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was really no bridge from this one to another, but since the chat actually brought it up, we're really just going to jump right into this next one right here. So Ilya and Jake Paul have been
Oh, good
talking on
Lord.
Aiden Ross's stream. Chat, one more shout out. Hydra, Didgery Dave. Thank you guys for stopping by. B Mank, one more time. And then we'll go ahead and watch this little clip here.
Well,
I
actually, also before you
Oh
start,
yes.
Didgeridoo Dave did have a good question. He was asking, how long do you think it before the stock does rise? Do you think it's going to be a 6 month deal, or you think we're going to be seeing some rapid increase here?
Okay, so they just released the first quarter numbers and they missed the margins by like a whole dollar or something. I don't know what all that means, but I know it's not good. And then the stock went up, so everybody jumped on board after that shit. They said, "All right, we missed the mark," and then now we're getting more stuff going
They're
in.
they're buying the dip plus the announcement, I would think.
Exactly. And for the entire winter break kind of deal, all the stocks have just been plummeting because that's normally how it goes for some reason. I guess everybody takes their money out for Christmas and all that shit. Everybody puts it back in, but we're starting to see the rise again, and Paramount is only going to go with other stocks. Everything goes up at the same time. Like if you guys have watched this shit for a good amount of time, they all go up, they all go down. It's not really anything. One goes up while the other ones go down
I mean,
necessarily.
yeah, sometimes. I mean, there are like overarching things that affect the entire market. There are things that affect individual stocks and stuff like that. But Hydra does kind of make a good point here. Never going to rise if they put on more cards like the one tomorrow. I don't necessarily agree with that take. It was just something that made me laugh. So thank you, Hydra.
Listen, shout out Mexico. But either way, let's get into this next one because
Yes,
you
yeah,
guys were
absolutely.
talking about it. And Hydro, Ilya Slimes, Jake, if you're talking about Paul. Funny stuff. We're gonna listen to what he says. And I only read one caption of this because I wanted to save the video for this, and it was kind of funny. So I can't wait to hear Ilya say it because it's probably pretty funny. So
Okay.
we're just gonna go ahead and play it. It's 3 minutes. If you want me to skip a little bit, if it's start blah 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 blah. Well,
Yeah, we'll play it and we'll pause if we need to, or
let
whatever.
me
Maybe
know if
maybe
you
there'd
want to
be
pause.
yeah, maybe there's be some times where we can stop it to comment.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no, it'll be good. It'll be good.
Yeah.
But every UFC fighter like says this, and then I offer them to go get them in a private jet. Like Patty Pimblett wanted to spar, and then I offered to send him my jet and $1 million, and he wouldn't do it. So we should
Bro,
actually
something
do it.
I respect about you is your attitude, that you have a great attitude and you always show up and you love the challenges. And actually, if I put you in a group of streamers, YouTubers, and all that, I think you are the best boxer in there. But if we are talking,
Yeah, I was going to say that's a good pause. I think Ilya is right with that because what I say about Jake Paul, and I'll preface any other comments that I have regarding what we're talking about here. But what I always say about Jake Paul is that I actually have a good amount of respect for him myself, because I do think that he has channeled the negativity that surrounds him and the perception of his, I guess, previous life. Maybe is, I don't know if maybe that's a little bit too extreme to say it's his past life or whatever, but like how he came into combat sports, he had a very specific view of, he was viewed in a very specific way. Like people looked at him in a very specific way. He has stayed nose to the grindstone through all of that. He has channeled a lot of that into growing his company and growing his empire, quote unquote, to the point where he's gotten the cards and the people that he has fought or whatever to go along with it. And you can have your opinions about like him fighting the older guys and all the ex-fighters and all of that kind of stuff. It's a strategy that has made him very successful. And throughout all of that, not even that part, put that part to the side. Throughout all of it, he has not given up on being a part of this world. So I mean, like, I as I say, like, I mean, like, it's kind of a mixed bag. Like, I don't necessarily like, oh man, Jake's the GOAT or anything like that. But I do have a level of respect for how he conducts himself, because A, he has gone through all of that and still goes at it. And B, he also sometimes has really valid takes about fighter pay and things like that. Like some of the stuff that he says is actually not that far off base. Some of his takes are ridiculously bad. I mean, there are things that I don't agree with entirely. But when it comes to certain issues, I think that Ilya is on point. Like compared to a guy like Aiden Ross, even I would say that I have more, like that Jake does it better.
Yeah, absolutely. But we'll go.
Okay,
I'll save a long rant here for us both.
Sure.
about the greatest and we are talking about really boxers, I never would put you in that list, but I respect the fact that you
It
started
doesn't.
from.
I mean, you're not. But
Yeah,
you're
you
not.
started
You're not
from-
in charge of the list. That's why I'm. That's why
I'm
I'm
not in the
Okay, that's a pretty funny comeback, though. I'm not gonna lie. So Ilya, yes, absolutely trying to cook him here. Like, dude, you're not on any all-time great list. And then he's like, dude, who the fuck gave you the pen, bro? Like, so.
And he's not wrong with that either. I mean, like, and I'm not saying that Jake is on the list, I mean, that is certainly not what I'm saying. But I mean, look, everybody's entitled to their own list. Ilya's just a guy at the end of the day. I mean, like, he is a guy who fights extremely well, possibly better than any other person on the planet. But, I mean, like, that is a fine comeback from Jake. I mean, I think that he's handling himself pretty well against the champ right now.
Charge of the
15
list, but I
after
have
5
my
years.
personal opinion, and I'm saying that as a boxer you suck, because I don't think that you have good boxing. You just are an average level of boxer, which is respect. Like for me, I respect it because
Yeah.
you
So then
started
let's
from.
spar. Let's
from-
spar.
Whenever
And,
you get
and when
listen,
I beat your ass in
the
sparring,
thing is
what would you
that
say?
whenever you get your job like healed, let's do it. But just get ready because you're gonna need another
thing is
period
that
of
I
time
don't
to
need
recover
I don't
your
need
job.
the jaw. I don't need the jaw to be healed because you're not gonna touch me, bro. You MMA fighters are all trash. I beat all of the best in your sport.
You want me
I beat
to
all
not
of the
touch your
best in your
jaw,
sport.
yeah,
That's
listen.
actually a fact.
Let's do it.
Like,
Let's do
I
it
beat-
with this rule. Let's do it with this rule. I'm not gonna touch your jaw because it's
No,
affected.
you can do
but
whatever you
I'm
want.
gonna
I'll spar you with no
I'm gonna
headgear.
give you fucking
You're a
liver
little guy.
in your hands like.
You're a little guy. You're 5'6". You can't even ride roller coasters, brother.
Probably I'm a little guy. Maybe
You can't ride roller
the best
coasters
thing
in
I have.
America.
Okay, so maybe the best thing that I have is not my height. Maybe I'm not the highest guy in the room, but I'm
I'm
gonna
just saying
put
you're
you.
light
I'm
work.
gonna
Like I
put you.
wouldn't wear
Listen,
headgear
listen,
to
listen.
spar you. I would feel bad.
Bro, I'm gonna give you a combo that I'm gonna put you in the height of my balls. You know what? I'm gonna pa, and you are gonna be on your fucking knees.
Hey,
Hey,
whatever you think. Once
Gallo.
it happens, once it
I
happens.
didn't have a comeback for that, did he?
I mean, so that's the caption that I read, and
Right.
honestly, it reads a lot better than him stumbling there because it took him a while to get it out. I was like, man, when's he gonna say I'm gonna put you down to the height of my balls? But it didn't come out as cool as it read. I'm not gonna lie. But
I mean, yeah, it's true. I mean, well, and also, you got to give Ilya a little bit of credit because it is a second language type of
yeah,
deal, but
facts.
still, I
And
mean,
dude, this is God right now, guys. Let me not listen. If he shows up tomorrow, listen, he can have whatever he wants here.
yeah, right. Yeah, yeah, most definitely. Yeah. I mean, again, give Jake Paul a little bit of credit for that too. I mean, people say, oh, it's like he's doing it for the cash. I would get knocked out for $10 million, whatever. That is there. I do think that that's a legitimate way to look at it. However, this is just a spar. Like he's literally just saying, like, come and spar with me. He would get beat in sparring, and and just get like he's willing to put himself through all of this to stay the course in this thing. So again, I still kind of have a level of respect for it.
Okay, timeout. Obviously, we didn't catch the chat, so we're gonna stop you
Yes,
guys
I was
right
gonna
now.
say I noticed
Okay.
that we're getting some breaking news here, people.
Okay, hold on. So we got Olberg and Yuri. I just saw this. I just saw Olberg and Yuri. Everybody
Yeah,
one
I'm
at a
trying to
time.
find some like tweets about this or whatever. Actually, if you guys have it, I don't know if the links will show up, but if you do have links to any of this kind of stuff, you can post them in
Okay.
the chat.
Okay, you ready? Okay, so Olberg and Yuri just got announced by Dana. Okay, there's the first. We have Dariush and Manuel Torres. Okay. Pico versus Patricio Pitbull.
Doing Bellator versus Bellator there.
And that looks about right. And then nobody seemed to care after that because it's kind of something that we already knew. And then they're more on to Ilya and Jake again. But either way, the point is,
Yeah, well,
actually,
they did just release the entire 327 card.
okay, let's see it.
Yeah, hold on a second. Let me send this over to you real quick. Give me a second. How do I do that? There we go. Okay. Yeah. Let me send that to you. There you are. So yeah, I mean, and Yuri versus Carlos Olberg is the main event of 327. So just not to bury the lead on that. That is the main announcement there, and I guess basically,
Okay.
yeah, all of the other announcements are around this. So this is all for 327 basically
So
today. It seems like.
yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're fine there. Go ahead.
We will start at the prelims.
All right.
So we have Christopher Alvidarez. Who is even this guy?
I believe Contender Series. I want to say I think I remember the Chris Alvidrez. I believe I remember that name from Contender Series.
He better be, for Lord's sake. Anyway, Francisco Prado, we know he is not good from
That's
Argentina.
Yeah, I mean he's there. He's getting teed up with a nice softball to come into the organization, as it should be. Francisco Prado should have been on the chopping block like 3 fights ago.
The thing is he's young, so there might be some upside to him if he's still young. That's all you can really give him. But if he starts getting old, then you have nothing to say. But okay, anyway, next up. Wow, this is a crazy low spot for these girls. Wow, Tatiana Suarez versus Lupi Gudinez. Holy shoot.
That's a great fight. That is I can't believe that's on the early prelims if this card order is correct.
Facts. We did know about this one, kind of, but
Okay.
we'll give it some. So Kelvin Gastelum, Vicente Luque is that gosh, prelims warranted. Prelims warranted.
Definitely prelims warranted, and probably not going to be a great fight, I would suspect. I think that's either going to go one of two ways very quickly. And yeah, I think that this unfortunately is another another more Dana White privilege for Kelvin Gastelum. I cannot understand this shit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to give a quick shout out to Hydra and his grandpa.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah, shout out to Hydra. Shout out to your grandpa. I'm glad that you were checking in with your grandparents, Hydra. We talked about this recently.
Absolutely. So, Kevin Holland, Randy Brown, we did know about this one already as well, but this is also kind of a decent matchup. I kind of dig it.
Yeah, that one I like a lot more than Gastelum versus Luque. Yeah, I think that there's potential for that one to be entertaining.
Okay, and then we got Cub Swanson versus Nate Landwehr. Is Cub Swanson not retired?
I literally was just going to say Cub Swanson, one of my absolute favorite fighters, one of my favorite moments in my entire time of both covering and being a fan of mixed martial arts was getting to see Cub Swanson in what should have been his retirement fight, knock out Billy Quarantillo. Got to see that live in Tampa. That's a moment that will always stick with me. Why, Cub? Why are you coming back? Stop, just, bro, let it. You got to know when to fold them, bro. You left on the high note. You got what most people never get to do. A lot of these guys who stay on too long go out, they get fed to sharks. I mean, Nate Landwehr, not necessarily the sharkiest of sharks, but still, bro, like this is too much of a risk. I don't understand this, Cub.
You know what? I kind of respect it though, because like when somebody's like on their way out and they ended on like such a high note, and they hear that they could, like, you get names on the table, and it's like, oh, I could face that NPC or that janitor or that closet cleaner, and then you get like a Nate Landwehr. It's like, well, certainly I can't go out without having that fun fight. Like as a true fighter, they want to put on performances. It's here because they want to go up against the best. He thinks that Nate Landwehr can put on an entertainment performance that could be, the Billy Quarantino fight was actually really fun with Cub Swanson. Like
Sure.
that was the one where I really was like that. Like I see the vision. I can see how that could be someone's favorite fighter right there. Like that performance right there. This could be another one of those fights. So I would just like to I like that.
I hope so. You know what I mean? Like I hope, like, Cub not in the Quarantillo fight, but I believe it was the fight just before that. I forget who it was against. It might have been against Sadiq Youssef, I want to say. But it was a clear robbery. Like Cub got he got the nod from the judges when he certainly did not deserve it. Even he knew that he did not deserve it. So I say that to say you slid by on that one. You go out with a knockout victory to go out like this just seems like it's just you already had the gold right there. So I hope that he's able to make this a fun fight still, and that Nate Landwehr comes in and does his thing too. I like Nate.
Yeah, absolutely. Nate's fun.
Oh,
And
and also, I did want to say this made me laugh. Vallejo's son
yes,
retired him with a call out, then didn't even fight him.
absolutely. Jesus Christ. All right. Anyway,
Yes.
Mateusz Gamrot versus Esteban Ribovics. The crazy part is this seems like a really big jump for Ribovics to just go from unranked to seventh. But guys, Ribovics should have been ranked, guys. I don't know who you guys are fucking talking about. Like that
That
dude is fucking good.
This is legit. Ribavix, obviously for very different reasons, but Ribavix was in a similar boat to our Hani Barcelos, in the sense that a guy who had many reasons to be ranked and for whatever reason is not still. So yeah, this makes a lot of sense. A and B. Gamrot has, he's floundered, bro. I mean, like, I don't dislike Gamrot. His style can be kind of, spotty as far as like, entertainment value sometimes, I would say. But I think that this is a very appropriate matchup for both of them at the stage of their career that they are at. And I just hope for the best for Ribavix because I like the guy a lot. He's one of my favorite fighters right now.
I you know what? We're gonna have to take a moment here because I think that there's no need for slander in this matchup. I can be a
Uh-oh.
fan of both Gamrot and Ribovics. Like, there's no
Yeah.
reason to say Gamrot squandered his opportunity. He went up on short notice against Charles in Rio de Janeiro, where he is undefeated.
I never said
You
that. I'm just saying that you got to look at the outcomes of the fight.
He's been doing fine. They robbed him against Dan Hooker. I'm not
Doesn't
gonna
matter.
lie.
I
I
mean,
know.
yeah, no, I understand. No, I agree with you. I'm just saying, if you look at the record, I mean, the record's the record.
Fair. His record's not bad, but either way, and he went to split decision with Armin. So like a lot of these things still add
True.
up, and I
No,
think
that's true.
Esteban is a very formidable opponent. I don't know if he has the grappling is just going to be a real test against Gamrot, guys. I mean, Esteban is a dude who is a give me 300 strikes a fight kind of guy, but if he gets 300 strikes taken away from him because he's on his back or he's taken up against the cage, I mean, what more do we have? I'm just worried about him in that aspect because Gamrot, he's a crafty grappler. He's not a guy that shoots and then he gets back to his feet. He shoots, and if he doesn't get it, he's diving for another leg. Like he I don't know. He's very relentless with the grappling. So we'll get into it more as the fight comes.
Of
We'll obviously
course,
have a
yeah.
Monday show to talk about it.
Yeah,
So we'll get
and
into
I
it.
don't want to. Just the last thing I would say about that is I don't want to give the impression that I was trying to slander Gamrot. I'm just saying that based on strictly off of what's on the page, this makes sense. Is what I'm trying to say.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Hydra. Thank you.
floundering is too hard. I saw
Floundering
that.
too
I
hard.
I get you. Fine. Okay, fair enough. I take it back.
Yeah, I listen. Charles and Rio. That's hard, guys. Undefeated.
Oh
Anyway,
yeah, no, all right. I think maybe I was being a little
no,
maybe
you're
over
good.
the
I'm
top
just
with it. I get
bashing
it.
you a little
No, no,
bit.
no.
I'm just
Fair
bashing
enough,
you a
fair
little
enough. And
bit.
I deserve it. That's fine.
The next one, Patricio Pitbull versus Aaron Pico. Patricio Pitbull being ranked. Is anybody else making raising eyebrows here? Like, has bro really done much to be ranked in this organization? I mean,
He
at most
came
he's had
in.
2 fights, right? 3?
Yeah, 3, I believe. But and yeah, 3 fights that have all been mid fights. He came in, he got ranked based on the opponents that they brought him in at, which
Yeah.
is a garbage. That's garbage. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Look, I I was the person who was riding for the Bellator guys at the time that Patricio Pitbull came into the organization. I was saying that, champion in another organization, very dominant for a long time in that organization. He's deserving of the level that he was coming in at. He has proven now, based on the fights that we have seen, that boring ass fight with Danny Ige. I mean, he's not it. And now Aaron Pico, of course, is picking up the pieces after a knockout loss. This needs to be his big moment to put a stamp on this thing.
I hate to say it, guys, and I know you guys would probably think different because a lot of people out there would know that I was having a good feeling that Lerone Murphy was going to knock out Pico, but I would love to tell you, Aaron Pico looked like $1 million up until that fucking knockout, up until he waddled into a spinning elbow. I could tell you that performance was making me a little sick, because if I was going to see that for 4 or 5 rounds, cut it, get it out of there, undefeated by ass,
And
Lerone Murphy,
and one thing I'll definitely say is, the spinning elbow that landed on Aaron Pico ain't coming from Pitbull.
Well, and that's the thing is like Pitbull. We've seen him in fights where he done damn near nothing.
That's
Pico's
that
very
the fight with
active.
Danny Ige.
Yeah,
Fucking garbage. So yeah, I mean, like, yeah, no, absolutely. I like this matchup for that exact reason. I think that this is a nice reset for Aaron Pico. Come in here and be the same guy that you were in that fight without, having to worry about those dangerous elements that were coming back at you from Lerone Murphy. This should be a time for him to shine.
yeah, absolutely. Well, anyway, next,
Yes,
I digress. We'll get into it.
absolutely.
Asmat Mirzakhanov versus Paulo Costa. It's just not even going to happen. There's probably nothing more to talk about at that one.
I mean, look, if it does happen, I think that this could be another really nice time for Mirzakhanov to make himself, to start giving himself a name, because I really feel like he's just to a lot of people, he's kind of an NPC when he shouldn't be. I mean, he's getting finishes consistently. He's just not a character, and he doesn't speak English, so I think a lot of people just kind of write him off when I mean, he's a lot more exciting than that. And we know that Paulo Costa is a runner. So, I mean, go track him down and knock him out.
Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, I personally I don't think Paulo Costa is gonna make the matchup, and I think Mirzakhanov, this dude questionable past with substances, that I've seen people talk about, and possibly weight miss on Paulo Costa's side, even if he does make it, to the fight. Who knows? This
Yeah.
dude is just a question. So either way, I'm not worried about it. And
Still
uh
Dana White privilege for him as well. You know what I mean? Like the
for
fact that
no
he keeps
fucking
getting,
reason.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. He keeps getting booked consistently when this is the conversation, when you don't know if he's going to show up or not consistently.
Absolutely. Well, anyway, going into the main card, we have Dominic Reyes versus Johnny Walker. This was also announced maybe a couple days ago, so
Right.
nothing too surprising. But that's a fun one. Honestly, I think, God, Johnny is not going to be able to wrestle with Dominic like he did with Zhang Minyang, but Dominic Reyes does have the power that Zhang Minyang has. So I think that's an easy pick for me right there. But I would always fade Johnny Walker. Not going to lie to you guys.
It's true. Yeah. I mean, and that is one of those things that gets tough, because it's like, for as much as I also have the same mindset of constantly fading Johnny Walker, he's one of those dudes that somehow does find victories here and there. Now against Dominic Reyes, I don't know, because Reyes has improved a lot since he was on his skid, I would say. I mean, I think that he's gotten himself into a better mindset, even if he has taken, I think, one loss, right? He's coming off of a loss, is he not?
Yeah, he just got knocked out by
Yeah.
fucking somebody.
By Krylov, no?
No, he knocked
No, that
the
was before.
fuck out of
Yeah,
that.
that was him. That was
Don't
that was
you
the other way.
ever fucking
Yeah,
do that.
that was the other way around. Yeah, but either way, yeah. I mean, Reyes, like I said, he has been better. Still not the best. You know what I mean? But that being said, I think Johnny Walker is crafty enough to possibly pull a victory off. But we'll talk about it more.
Yeah, absolutely. And then going into it more, Benil Dariush versus Manuel Torres. This is honestly so crazy to me. I just want to point it out to you guys. This is another Hani Barcelos. This is another Peyton Talbot situation. Manuel Torres got knocked out 2 fights ago. You know this, right, guys? By Ignacio Bahamundes. And now he's 14th ranked, getting a pay-per-view spot on the main card. I mean, we want to talk about Dana White privilege. Listen, if you have a flag that has green, white, and orange or red in that fucking, you get anything you want in this organization. Jesus Christ, like what this is absolute. We'll go into it. We'll go into it more. What would you like to say?
Um, what I would say is that Manuel Torres, I understand, because of the finishing that he has been doing, that does speak volumes, over a lot of other people, maybe that aren't consistently finishing, even if he was finished himself. So I get that part of it. Um, I think that he is very predictable. Like remember last fight when we were talking about his knockout of Grant Dawson. That was my note, was that he has a very that was your note, because I was saying that Dawson was predictable in what he was doing, and that Manuel Torres picked up on it. But you were saying Manuel Torres has a very defined set of moves that he uses. So really, if Beneil watches tape, he might be in trouble.
So you tell me this, right? So I will give you a fact that Manuel Torres has a win over Chris Duncan, right? On a contender series.
Uh huh.
Would you say that Chris Duncan in the UFC should be lower ranked than Manuel Torres in the UFC if Manuel Torres just got knocked out 2 fights ago? Chris Duncan's on a win streak right now, finish streak.
True. Yeah. 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 That ain't right.
Yeah,
That ain't
but
right.
anyway, we'll get into it later. We'll continue on. I digress. Now going into this next matchup. This was on the later slate of events to talk about, but we'll mush it all in here. Curtis Blades versus Josh Hokett. What would you like to say here? Is this a big jump up for Josh Hokett?
It is a big jump up for Josh Hokett. It's a huge jump up for Josh Hokett. As far as, definitely on the rankings, it's a huge jump up. But honestly, I think that this is the exact fight that needs to happen. I have been evangelizing the fact that I think that Curtis Blades is a myth. I think that that Curtis Blades and this wrestling that he supposedly has is a myth at best. When was the last time that you ever saw Curtis Blades turn the wrestling into the grappling into a submission? You've never seen it. So
Gotcha.
I'm sick and tired of hearing about it. Josh Hokett, you have seen, or at least you've seen, what you've seen from him is consistent finishes, consistent work. You've seen good cardio out of him as well. I love this matchup. I think it is going to be a nice infusion of new blood into the heavyweight division. And Josh Hokett, as much as I am cringed the fuck out by this guy every time that he speaks, you can't deny the talent.
It's hard to say that he's gonna jump into fourth ranked, but you know, Kunaev almost did, and it was a split decision. And Thinker,
I,
shout out to Hydra for
I
this.
see. Yeah, it's not
Thinker was
slander
about
if
to hand Slider. Yeah.
it's not slander if it's factual.
Yeah, true. But either way, we'll get into it more. Everybody, make sure you tune into the episode here in a few weeks
Of
because we will be
course.
going into it. But either way, you have your co-main event coming down to Josh Van and Tatsuro Taira. Obviously, Manel Cap was not willing to go ahead and take the opportunity. I mean, I guess April 11th was not far out enough for him. And Tatsuro Taira takes the opportunity. Unfortunately, we're not in Japan with this matchup. So
True.
that's
Yeah.
just how it goes.
Well, that's kind of a side fact or whatever to it. And you're not going to necessarily get that even if you want it. But I feel bad that this is not Pantoja is the only thing I really feel about this. I love the fight. I mean, the fight itself is great, but I would have liked it to have been Pantoja. I think that's the fight that should be right now.
Well, to counter that, I would like it to be Pantoja too, but for me to say that I would like it to be Pantoja, I mean, he shouldn't have been injured in the first place. Like that was a freak accident, yada yada yada. But I know Pantoja would is eager to get back in here.
Right.
If he could, he would. Like we even saw him, he's working out and very soon after the arm break or the dislocation kind of deal, he would know if he's ready to come back. He probably he's like, one fight, he'll take some damage, he'll take 6 months off, whatever. I'll be back.
Yeah, no. And look,
Permanently.
yeah, and that's fine. I get that. He will. Look, I mean, we know he's going to get it. I'm not saying that they're just leaving him behind. He's going to get his shot. But I just, it would. I think that I would have liked it to be the immediate first the first fight back, or the first defense for Van, just because it's unsettled business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So because now, I mean, look, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if Josh Van does not win this fight, then now it becomes this whole different, kind of equation, right? I mean, like, now you had the fluke off of the first fight. Now Pantoja is going up against Tyra, which is a whole different set of circumstances. Van is now, number one ranked or whatever. Like, it just, I like the idea of getting right in the division first, and then everything else can happen. But if it's not going to happen, I love this fight.
Potential first Japanese champion,
Uh,
UFC.
yeah, I think so, right? Yeah, I want to say yes. I think that does sound correct
Chat, keep us posted, of
for
course. And
sure.
then I love this one. Manel signed the contract, baby cap, when he actually has to sign contract. Yeah, he sucks, brother. Van will
True.
win. I love it. Miss Didgery Dave. Wow.
Mrs.
Love it.
Didgery Dave in the chat. Hello, Miss. Nice to
Love
see
it.
you.
Well, she tuned in right at the good moment. We're getting into the main event. And if you guys didn't catch this, this actually is for the light heavyweight championship. You have Yuri Prohashka versus Carlos Ulberg, which evidently means Alex Pereira is moving up.
I mean, I think that you can only look at that one way, I suppose, and that does seem to be the signal. I guess that without it being explicitly spelled out for us, we're going to be seeing Alex Pereira going up to heavyweight on the White House card.
Yeah, probably. I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense. And if Alex is not on the White House card, I mean, we'll probably riot. As Americans, I think he's the most. He's got to be there. Come on now. I cannot have a White House card without Alex on it.
Yeah, it makes too much sense. I mean, come on, and look, I want to also say this one thing about the White House card, because this is a narrative that has been going around. There has been this conversation, and I think it's really just shit posting, and for more so than anything else. But there's been a conversation going around that there is some kind of American bias that, if you're not from America, you're not going to be fighting on the card or whatever. That is absolute horseshit. There's no way that that's true. So,
Mm.
and now I will say that, maybe that there will be some preferential treatment to countries that America is more okay with than others. That maybe tracks a little bit more. When it comes to Brazil, you are definitely going to have Brazilians on this card, and Alex Pereira fits the bill. He is everything that the organization wants out of that card. He is a superstar. He is a household name outside of MMA. He is known, and he is now making a big move potentially into going for possibly a third title. I mean, this has White House written all over it.
And to answer Jeremy's question, no, I'm not sure if it's going to be an interim heavyweight matchup between Gon and Alex. But what I do know is that the White House will be worth about $60 million to build, and if you guys want to scale it, the Sphere costs approximately 20 million in total to build and put on, I guess is what they're trying to say here. But
Well, they
sixty
didn't have to
million
build
dollars
that.
for the well, true, fair, I guess. But either way, $60 million for the White House. What are we thinking here? The Sphere was built like very recently.
It was,
I think
yeah.
it was
It had been completed, and then Dana went to a show at it and was like, "I want to do a show here," and then that's how that came
gotcha,
about.
gotcha,
So I thought,
gotcha.
again, that the Sphere story is actually one of those things that, like, for as much as I've got plenty of criticisms of Dana and the business practices and all that, I really do respect that he literally, like, he went to the Sphere, saw you2 perform there, and was like, you know what, I'm doing a show here, and then it
You
happened.
too, brother. Like,
I know it couldn't have picked a better band, maybe, but that's neither here nor there. I'm sure that there are plenty of great U2 fans out there, and Sunday Bloody Sunday is a good song. Anyway, but as far as the cost of this goes, none of this is being passed on to the taxpayer. I also heard that the UFC does not really stand to make any actual profit off of this event themselves. So this is really a very for the people kind of things. Guys, you know me, I am as critical as it gets of many things when it comes to the politics in this country. I like, a lot of people are trying to make this, this is just a big spectacle dog and pony show, but I'm like, I'm okay with all of it. I love it. I think that it's awesome. I think it's a great thing. And like, if it's not going to affect us as far as any kind of financial impact goes, if the UFC wants to spend $60 million on that, fair enough. I'd rather them spend $60 million on that than $15 million on Conor Benn.
absolutely. I listen, and I brought this up a couple weeks ago. We've been talking about the White House, in the build up to it, and we've been talking and speculating about different things. And I think I hit this one right on the money. And maybe if people don't remember this, I'll be a little upset because maybe I'm not as smart as I think I am. But I think I hit this one. There will definitely be a seating for the U.S. military, and this one
Yeah.
is pretty fire. I like this one. I'm a big fan of it because like. Bro, fuck it, why not? Like, if you want to show, like, we got troops everywhere in the world. Like, at every sporting event everywhere, they got the fucking jets that fly over. They got the Blackhawks that come in. Like, just have the military there. Just let them watch the fights. So, Yeah.
No, I agree. I think that that's great. It definitely, it's the American thing to do. So I definitely agree with that. And also, I'm seeing what Hydra is saying here. Saying, oh, it's not for the people, it's for the elites at the show to boost Trump's public perception. I get that aspect of things. Trust me, I do understand that to be a big component of this. However, that kind of thing is always going to happen with the current administration. Everything that they do is based on perception and boosting perception. So if it's going to be that inherently, then I at least like that this is something that I also enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a couple more things about the White House that we do need to break down really quick. So this page that I'm going to show you, this tweet has been taken down. So I can't show you the page that it was. I can't remember what it was, but it was probably MMA Orbit, which is normally where I get a lot of my information that gets filtered into the Discord.
Sure.
But so maybe they're bootlicking a little bit because the page is no longer here. They took down the tweet, which was telling us that Donald Trump has officially moved the fucking White House card to the Friday instead of a Sunday. Something like that. Somebody moved it to a Friday.
Well, that
And
that apparently that was false, is why that got removed.
number one bullshit. Yes,
There you
exactly.
go.
Dana White has says the media is full of bullshit and White House is still Sunday. So whoever, created that rumor, Crazy Kev, I don't know, speculation, but
He's
but
been missing a whole lot lately, hasn't he?
exactly. But the point is that it's still on Sunday, June 14th. We're going to have potentially, I mean, who's to say that we're not going to have fights on that Saturday, Like would we?
I would suspect probably not. I would suspect that this is probably going to they probably will not do an event before this, but I don't know. I mean, it could be. We could be at the Apex on Saturday and the White House on Sunday.
Well, the only thing that I'm thinking about is that because Hamzat, no, and it's crazy that we bring this up. Hamzat has the record for the quickest turnaround because he fought on a Wednesday card back when they did that randomly, and then he fought on that Saturday thereafter. So he had a 4-day turnaround. The thing that I'm questioning, who's going to get the 6-day turnaround for this? Who's going to get in the record book for coming back either the week after or the week before? What's the deal? So
Um, I would suspect nobody because of the high profile nature of this card. I would suspect that nobody is going to be doing that. But crazier things have happened, so we will see.
well, you know what we won't see? Doesn't look like we're going to see Ilya at the White House.
Yeah.
Talks of Ilya and Justin Gaethje taking place at the White House have decreased. Now that does not mean they're off the table. And yes, we oftentimes get fights that we did not think we were going to get. We just went down a whole list of them. But here we are, Taporia and Justin Gaethje, according to championship rounds. It is not in the America's interest, something like that at the end. Go ahead.
I mean, the talks have decreased. What exactly does that mean? They've decreased. I mean, like, are we talking about like the predictive markets here? I mean, like, I don't understand how they're quantifying this. If you're, because I see all of the other text, and I'm like, okay, there might be some things that are leading to some speculation one way or the other. Look, if it doesn't happen, I mean that's not going to be the worst in the world. You got to remember too, we are already having a whole lot of cards that are being shifted all around. There's a pay-per-view that we just went over that is now, that the main event of it just came together because of this. So like there's a lot of moving parts that are not just based on the White House. If it's not at the White House, it's going to be somewhere else. I mean, like, just I don't. This is a nothing burger to me.
Absolutely, yeah. We're definitely probably going to see Ilya Taporia. I mean, as listen, they're talking about. It's also about advising and structure things in the most positive way for American interests, guys. We want to see Ilya Taporia. I'm just letting you know right now. I'm the American audience. I'm on the boots to the ground, and I tell everybody that I know. If you heard this guy Ilya Taporia, do not ever let him come near you. He'll eviscerate your family with his left and right hands. Like it's
I,
crazy.
and that's also like why I'm a little skeptical of all of this, what I'm seeing here, because like if you think that that's what that means, or if that's like actually a legitimate statement from somebody, I can almost guarantee you that that's bullshit. America does not have any predisposition to being opposed to Georgia or Spain. So I mean, like, where is this coming from? That wouldn't be, I mean, Justin Gaethje is about as American as you get. So
Absolutely.
like what? Yeah, this is kind of a bullshit speculation as far as I'm concerned.
True, but yeah, the White House is definitely something that we are still looking forward to. I mean, everybody would have thought that the Dana White announcements today was going to be for the White House, but who Who really knows? Maybe they're trying to set it up in a way that, because if you look April 11th for the card that we just got announced, it's not too far away.
Right.
Maybe they're trying to get more, let's announce 3 weeks out and then we'll get more frequent announcements kind of deal. I don't know if that's necessarily the plan, but get more structure to the announcements because now you're in Paramount. You need things that are going to stick. This entire time you with ESPN, you doing all the fuck it Friday, things and shit. You know how to get the audience. You know how to get people to watch it. Now you need to get them to go to the fucking streaming service. So lock in. Get us some more advertising, Dana White, I would say, and just lock in, bro. And we're gonna get Illy on the White House. Is basically anything that I was saying probably doesn't matter. Illy on the White House is all I want. So
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Look, if they were already saying that it's potentially going to be 5, 6 title fights, whatever it's going to be, plus Connor's going to be on it, so that's not going to be a title fight. Like, they're I'm not worried about the White House card, is I guess what I'm saying. It's going to be fine whether this fight happens or it does not happen. It's going to happen at some point, whether it's White House or not. Just let the shit play out. I feel like we're all like clamoring right now. You know what I mean? It's like everybody's kind of like chomping at the bit to get the information. The information's going to come out. Just be patient.
absolutely. Well, if you guys want to talk about something that we may care about a little more, listen, Ilya Taporia thinks he's one of the greatest boxers of all time. He may even delve into the sport of boxing after his UFC career. But what I will tell you is he will not potentially be the first athlete to hold recognized world titles in both MMA and professional boxing at the same time. You know why? Because Chris Cyborg potentially has that opportunity to do it first. And what do you think about that, Thinker?
I love this. Yeah, I was very glad. I follow Chris. You know me. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. I'm involved in the business side of MMA to a very little extent here. I interact with people in the MMA space on LinkedIn, and Chris Cyborg is one of those people that I follow on there. And I was very happy to see this. Cyborg. Granted, she does have some doping in her past, and that is an unfortunate asterisk on everything. But that aside, being a long time in the past, as far as her accomplishments in mixed martial arts and now in boxing go, she really is somebody who has done a great deal. And I mean, I think that she really deserves a lot of respect for the amount of time and effort and entertainment that she has put into this sport. She's one of the women that women fear. And if this would be a really great feather in her cap as she gets a little bit into her more advanced age here, she probably does not have that many more years to go as far as fighting goes. And I just think that this would be an excellent thing for her to be the first champion in both MMA and in boxing.
You know, I do agree. I'm a big fan of Chris Cyborg. I normally do advocate her when people talk about the greatest women of all time. I mean, Chris Cyborg, again, at the age of whatever she is right now, I mean, she's still competing at the highest level of mixed martial arts. I mean, highest level being wherever she's at kind of deal.
Right.
But
PFL.
for her age, it tracks kind of deal, you know. So, but the one thing I will say about this is, being the first athlete to hold recognized world titles in MMA and professional boxing at the same time, very good, very great. But I feel once I read that, I thought to myself, I watch one all the time and I see a lot of double sport champions. We see MMA and we see kickboxing, or we see Muay Thai and kickboxing, So I wish I wouldn't have thought a little harder about it, because I guess it's a little more common than I guess she made it seem like I'm the first athlete to do this. But I guess the sport of MMA and boxing at this level, and for where she's at her age, I think it's all very, very valid. I mean,
Yeah.
this is something to be very proud about for sure.
And just to touch on the point you're making there, I think that what's interesting about that is you're right. I mean, kickboxing, Muay Thai, BJJ, of course. It seems like boxing, as traditional boxing, specifically traditional boxing, sort of has its own mystique, its own world, its own culture, and it's a little bit removed, I would say, from other combat sports that kind of are clustered together. Like the ones that I just mentioned, sort of, they kind of operate in like the same world to an extent. There's like an ecosystem with that. And traditional boxing sort of is like adjacent to all of that, it would seem. So, I mean, I think that that's another reason why this is kind of a big milestone, or could be a big milestone, is because it finally bridges that gap. It bridges the gap that to the traditional boxing space that just doesn't seem to be crossed over. And then when we have seen mixed martial artists and other combat sports athletes go to traditional boxing, it has not gone well for them. So I think that this is a really nice thing that could be that final bridging of these these worlds that have not always played in the same arena so much, or if they have, it hasn't gone well.
Absolutely. And shout out to Tasteful Thickness. This was a great comment. She does have a nice penis. Um,
I'm not going to highlight that.
And then Hydra boxing is different because it's old. I definitely agree with you there. And I think it was Hydra. Somebody in the Discord, your name is different, but you sent me a video of Yuri climbing the mountains. We're gonna go ahead and watch it real quick. I actually didn't pull it up because we just got the announcement of Yuri, so I didn't want to have a two Yuri kind of thing. But since I actually said it right here, and it's a funny thing, we'll go ahead and run it real quick, just because I thought of you real quick. And sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but Cyborg, this is more important. I'm sorry to tell you. And this is like during, like, this video came out when the
Oh, Chase is back. There he is.
it's the
Hello.
voodoo. They don't want us. They don't want us to watch Yuri. But anyway, this is back when Mexico was having the issues with their whatever. So
The
this is
political
funny.
stuff, yeah.
Yes, I don't know if you saw this video, but it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yes, but I think the best for you can film is right now. It's right now because Peña de Bernal. I'm climbing back, so right now, just a little floors, and I'm down. Let's go for that.
So a lot of people, when they saw this, they thought he was coming to save. Oh yeah, free soloing Mexico right now. Yeah, he was coming to save Mexico. I don't know about free soloing, but saving Mexico, 100%. He was on his way to do that.
Oh, for sure. No, yeah. I think what I said about this clip was while you were playing checkers, Yuri was free climbing a mountain, which is the most Yuri thing that you can do. But also a fun little note from this, and I don't know if it was a kind of a meme or if he was just joking or whatever. But apparently Yuri was not happy that they posted this. He had said that this was supposed to be a private message, and I don't really know why he thought that, considering they were asking for footage. What did he think they were going to do with it? But it's just a little funny thing to add to it. But that's Yuri for you,
Yeah, I also saw that too. Like, he tweeted back like this was a private message or whatever, but maybe he's mad that they're watching him free climb like dangerously. But it's also like you sent it to the UFC page or something. Like, I
That's
don't
what I
know.
mean. Yeah, it's kind of a goofy thing, but either way, I mean, again, if you message Yuri on a random Tuesday, this is what he's doing.
Absolutely. And you know what else people do on a random day? Today is Friday. Very random to me because, things in other sports go down. We obviously talked about Dana just a minute ago. He had to wait till 11:30 p.m. at night, but
Right.
this announcement came at a reasonable time. Alexander Usyk is going to defend his WBC World Heavyweight title against this kickboxing legend Rico Verhoeven on May 23rd. So what are you thinking about at the Pyramids? Wow, I didn't even notice that. What the hell?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty dope. I don't know if this is going to be an outdoor event at the pyramids, but if it is, that's wild to be.
Hot as
It
fuck.
could be hot as fuck. Yeah, most definitely that. But I mean, iconic as fuck as well to be seeing fights in front of the pyramids. I mean, if you have the pyramids in the background and the boxing ring in front of it, that would be insane.
I said this. We talked, not just me. We
Yes.
talked about this.
Yep.
What is the next White House? Where do you have to have the event next? If the White House comes, listen, May 23rd. Isn't that before the White House or is that
It's
after?
certain. It is. The White House is in June, is it not?
Oof, look at that. They got to the pyramids before they got to the White House, bro.
Yes, fair enough. I mean, as far as the actual fight of it goes, this is something I was interested in. Obviously, this is traditional boxing. We don't cover it all that much, or it's not something that we necessarily enjoy all that much. But two things. One, Alexander Usyk, I think, transcends it because he is legendary. This guy is the best boxer in the world, in my opinion. I mean, if you wanted me at my very novice takes on boxing to rank who I think is the goats list right now, Usyk is at the number one position to me. I think that he is just the most amazing boxer, and and he's done amazing things. That's number one. Number two, the real reason that I wanted to bring this up and to bridge it to MMA. Rico Verhoeven. Rico Verhoeven is, of course, a very big star in Glory Kickboxing. He was going to come to the UFC. He did not like the deal that he was offered by the UFC, if you recall. Do you not know about this?
Oh yes, yes, Alex's former opponent. Yes.
No, not him. That was a different guy. That was the guy that fought on the Contender Series and got a contract and decided not to take it. This is a
Oh,
different guy. This
gotcha.
this was the dude that was going to apparently was offered to fight Derek Lewis, and that was going to be on the first Paramount card. They that was the offer, was they were going to have Rico Verhoeven fight Derek Lewis, and he didn't like the money, and this is what he did instead. So what I said is that Rico chose the bag. If you are bringing in these fighters at these low, entry level arrangements as far as what their money goes, like when they could be getting bigger bags, take the bigger bags. You do this to the MMA fighters, you're bringing in fucking Conor Benn for one fight for $15 million. I will not stop harping on that, because that, I believe, is one of the biggest slaps in the face to all fighters in the UFC. Mixed martial arts as a whole. The thing that made Dana White what he is, he's slapping these fighters in the face with these lowball offers. Rico Verhoeven wasn't going to take the bait. He said he can get a better bag, and now he is fighting the greatest boxer in front of one of the world, the seven wonders of the world, one of the world's
Yeah,
greatest monuments.
absolutely. I think it's I guys, I really liked that I had that idea. Like, what are the odds, guys? Like, what are the next ones? What are the next things that they're gonna do that? Did we even say the pyramids? I feel like that's a very major flop if we did not come up with the pyramids as one of the options, going forward.
Well, I mean, like, that's the thing, though, is that, like, you got to have the White House card first before you get, you know what I mean? Like, it's got to be America first. You know the deal with that. Like, that
True.
has to take precedence. So, like, all of the rest of the great monuments of, around the world, the pyramids, the Great Wall, etc., the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, those were always going to be secondary to the White House, I would say, as far as the UFC goes. So it's fine that this is happening that way. And of course, yes, Chase, you were correct about, that being a good idea.
You know what's crazy though? I will say this, considering what they did for that Royal Rumble Stadium in Saudi Arabia, there's a lot of people on Earth who question how the pyramids were built. Going down the line, when you look 1,500 years from now, they're going to question how they built a fucking arena next to the pyramid in 24 hours, and you're going to be like, I don't fucking know, brother.
A lot of questionable labor is how that happens. Don't want to go into the politics of that.
Yeah, absolutely. But, speaking of politics and getting into them, these are two people who, maybe politics aside, they just got some beef and they're going to have to settle it. I know you don't know about this one too much. It kind of just came out, but I'm excited to get into this video. It's something that's been lingering. We watched Karate Combat and you got to see a little bit of this, and here you go.
All right. Well,
What's
before you
happening
start
with you and
that,
your-
then
Go ahead.
so I just really quick wanted to shout
Bleeding
out the chat one
Edge.
more time. Yes, Bleeding Edge. Wanted to shout you out, of course, my man. They did not announce Poatan vacating. They just announced the Olberg versus Yuri fight for the belt.
Which
So
presumably vacates.
correct. Yeah, exactly. That's the implication is the vacation, but they did not explicitly announce that. But just wanted to shout him in, and of course, the Tasteful Thickness. I know you shouted him out earlier as well.
Absolutely. And once again, Hydra and Jeremy, you guys are still here. Didgery Dave and Miss Didgery Dave. Miss Didgery Dave. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
Guys,
yes,
love you guys.
appreciate you.
All right. And of course, yes, two guys that have beef, if you didn't know.
Yes.
Bro, I don't know. I'm ashamed sometimes call him my brother because you see his last video, bro. He put his coach up and make some video on Instagram. He suck his dick. You don't see this. You see this shit. This shit go viral, bro. What the fuck? I wanna grappling fight with him. I don't MMA fight for him because I don't wanna hurt him and my family, his mother, my father. No, they're gonna be upset about that. But grappling fight, like, I would like kill him. No, like kill him, just broke his leg. To show him who is the real Walker. Because this guy make Walkers look like bad. Look his shit contents, bro. Poly dance on the gym, suck coach on the gym. What the fuck, bro? Disgusting.
And you don't think he's just trying to be funny? You think you actually like take offense to this towards the Walker name?
Hey, bro, what the fuck you be funny sucking dick? Think this is funny? Motherfucker, I'm in Russia, bro. In Russia, you call this pederasta. You know? Everybody look this guy, he like pederasta, like, gay. You know? I don't want to have a gay brother. Do you like to have a gay brother?
You asking me?
Yeah.
You want to hear something funny here, Walter? Or
Uh-oh.
I called
You
you
have gay
Walter.
brother.
My brother's gay.
Oh fuck, bro. I
Well, I mean, props to this guy. I mean, you know, he could have dodged that one, but he didn't. Good for him. First of all, why is Walter Walker broadcasting on a potato on this thing? I mean, Jesus Christ, the internet is terrible where he is at.
Yeah, you got to splice in Chill saying, "I didn't know they had computers in Brazil." Like,
Right, exactly. Internet is
and
new in Brazil still. Yes, that is true. Yeah, I mean, you know, this is all fun. You know, this is
was it
definitely.
at the end though? I feel like they maybe I don't know. Maybe it was a joke at first, but then I'm like, what is he actually saying towards the
Oh,
end? Before we paused it there.
yeah, I mean, you know, he is getting a little bit, maybe crossing a little bit of a line, but I think it's like in the same vein of still being like, you know, I'm playing it up for. Yeah, this is all pro wrestling shit,
True.
which is fine.
I agree. We talk about Hokid, who's actually like horrible and cringe. I mean, at this point, it's like is Walter Walker. Unfortunately, we can't see his facial, mannerisms too much with the fucking 260p that we have going on here.
For
But
sure.
is it? I don't know. And listen, it's kind of funny to think at first he's like, oh fuck that guy, he's giving us bad name, brother, and then it's like, oh, he's gay, he sucked dick at a manager. What the? Whoa, I don't know what he was talking about there.
Yeah, I think he's like going a little bit like overboard. I think it's like, bro, maybe you can pull that back just a little bit. You know, but
As
like
a heel
again,
character, he's believable. I would give it to him.
exactly. I mean, I think he's leaning into it heavily. I'm sure the two of them talked beforehand to be like, look, I'm going to be saying a whole bunch of stuff that's going to be very derogatory towards you. You can say the same amount towards me. We're going to be fine at the end of the day. I mean, you know, it's fluff. It's fine. It's fun.
I would like to go back to your original point. Shout out to the dude because what if his brother watches and he would have just been like, "Oh yeah, he actually interjected. You know what's funny? I have a gay brother. Fuck you. I have a gay brother."
Yeah, no, I give the guy a lot of respect. Like I said, he could have sidestepped it. He could have gone with, he could have gone along with it and just not said anything about it. But he did the right thing. I mean, not really like standing up for his brother necessarily, but you know what I mean. He's acknowledging. Yeah, I mean, I'm, well, I don't know. Does he expound upon this afterwards, or is there more to this?
Well, we will definitely get into that, but unfortunately, he set Walter up for the funniest part of the video. Oh fuck!
Yeah, stepped in it, but yeah,
And it's all right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, we'll see how he recovers.
It's all right, but I don't like this idea, you know. This idea. Do you like this idea? Like the idea of your brother gay? Your brother is gay, okay? He's all right, but do you like this deal? I believe.
Your brother gay. He's all right.
That's yeah. I'm not talking about you specifically. I'm talking about the idea of it. You know, it's bigger than you.
Do you believe in Jesus, brother?
Oh, yeah,
That's where he's going right now.
Oh no.
With you from the start of interview. Do you like the idea of brother gay? Be true, man.
Did you say, do I like the idea that my brother's gay?
Yeah.
It doesn't offend me, but it's not a lifestyle for me. I'm not gay. I'm married. I got the ring on, but
do you
my
like
brother's gonna
or
do
you
what he's
like? Look, yeah, like, do you like? Say yes, no.
Do I like men? No.
No,
Do I like
it's-
my
no,
brother's
no.
gay? I really don't care. I gotta be
Yeah.
honest. I really don't
What
care.
you say? Do you like your brother's gay? Yes or no? You can
Jesus, dude.
only
Okay, we can see how this is going. But
Well, I mean, but then I'm kind of curious how it
Okay,
ends,
okay,
though. I mean,
okay.
yeah, let it run.
yes or no?
It's not a yes or a no. I don't care. You know
It's a
what I
good
mean?
answer.
He's a good
Oh,
person at the
he-
end of the day.
In the life, in the end, you have only two answers: yes,
Yes or
or no. Yeah, you understand me? If you ask me if your brother gay, I say I
You
don't
say no.
like. No, I say no.
Okay, I mean, I think that guy handled it exactly correctly as far as I'm concerned. I think that Walter was pretty out of line, honestly. I think he should have dropped that line of inquisition.
yeah, no, that was it got interesting. At first it was funny. The karate combat thing was funny, but like I also think this is still part of like the heel character that he's in. But I think I don't know. I kind of believe him a little too much, bro. Like I
Yeah,
don't know.
no, you're definitely right. It's like he was too deep.
He brought
you know,
bro into it. Like he brought him into
that
it.
right.
the
That's what I mean.
problem.
It's like he himself is too deep into character that he couldn't really there was no good way to break himself out of that at that point. You know, he can't dig himself out of the hole. So he sort of had to double down by necessity, I guess. But I think that dude handled it very well. You know, he didn't make it an issue. You know, he stood his ground. So good deal.
And he's never getting an interview again with that motherfucker. You
You
know,
think so?
like,
Nah, I don't know. I mean, it didn't seem like it. I mean, he might not want to do an interview with him again, but it didn't seem
true.
like, you know, like I don't think after that there would have been like a grand beef over it or anything. I don't even think that Walter would like feel some type of way about that necessarily. I don't know.
Tasteful thickness, bro, you know he don't like it. You know, see, and that's what I'm kind of reading that, like, even if he's playing a character, like, he's still projecting his his opinion out there, like whether he's doing it in like a sarcastic way that you would read an undertone, but like either way, funny stuff from Walter Walker. I'm glad we
Sorry.
got to bring it up.
And I
Yes.
also had to highlight this Hydra always with the making me laugh always. Walker's internet being shut down actively by gay hackers. That's funny.
Absolutely. You know, I mean, Johnny Walker hired him to go there. He's sabotaging the stream. You know, he's trying to live a happy life apparently, and his brother will just not let it happen.
Yeah, sure.
But let me read this comment. Let me read it first. It's a really long one before I read it out loud because sometimes you guys are crazy. Oh yeah, okay. Fighters being questioned is so silly. Bloke gets punched in the head daily. Then cultural aspects and personal. Why would anyone care? Fighters think is gay wrong, and who fucking cares?
Yeah, well, no, I see. Like, I never agree with that line of thinking because we do care. I mean, we care. Like, the only time that okay, let me take one step back. I don't agree with that because we are interested in them as people. You know what I mean? Like, they're more than just fighters to the community. I would say, like, you know, like what I say in response to that, I always bring up Rich Franklin. Rick Franklin is a guy who has done great things for his community. You know, he's a very good ambassador for mixed martial arts, and he should be recognized for the good things that he does. And in the same line of thinking, like, you know, that by extension extends to the people that we don't agree with. So it's like, I don't think that we shouldn't necessarily care about what they have to say about these things. We can disagree with them. I certainly disagree with Johnny Walker or with Walter Walker in this instance. But you know, it's all context for who they are as people and thus who we perceive them to be as fighters. You know, this is the broader fight world that we inhabit as fans.
Well, if anybody out there didn't know, and if you are, new to the game, there is another person that we're going to talk about who in the past had some run-ins with a person who have a different personal preference of sexuality of what you would like to say. And this has nothing to do with that, but we're going to talk about that person. So Shara Bullet randomly has a grappling match against Jorge Masvidal. Is anybody else surprised? I am. Why is this happening?
Yeah, that is. I had not heard about this one. That is surprising. Why? Yeah, I mean the same vein as what you were saying. I like this is just that's very random and very why.
Who knows why, honestly, but Shara Bullet is trying to be active in his grappling, bouts. You know, he's trying to get experience when it comes to grappling outside of MMA. Um, Sure, I don't really care. I mean, it's funny enough because when he's in MMA, he actually has a very good defensive style against the cage that doesn't allow him to get taken down or take much damage. So he does a very good job considering he doesn't have to use much grappling in his like actual fights themselves. So maybe he's just got the itch for grappling. I don't know. Who knows?
I get, yeah, it's just an odd thing. I'm sure that what I would suspect at least is that this came about by someone from the promotion just randomly reaching out to fighters, and Jorge picked up the phone. They offered him a good price, and he said, "I'll do it." Jorge, of course, not necessarily known for his amazing ground game, so I think that this is going to be an easy dub for Shara. But if they want to
Is
do it,
Shara known for his ground game?
he went to decision with Armin, did he not?
Yeah, but that was also like a exhibition type, which is
Yes.
probably what you're
Uh,
gonna see this.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's fluff again, fluff. I mean, like that's another thing. We want to talk about seeing through the bullshit. Like that's when I see things like this. Same. I brought it up several times, but it's same with Mike Tyson versus Floyd Mayweather. Things. It's fluff. It's not there. Like if you're looking at these kinds of things, like actual competition, like actual fighting, then you're not viewing it in the right frame of mind. Like this is just something that they know that people know the names of these people. It will draw a certain number of eyes to the promotion. you just go with that as the understanding. And if you want to watch this, go ahead. I'm not going to. I could give a fuck less about this. And that and the Armin match with Shara. Like it's again, I look at it like fluff. So if you view it from that perspective, then you don't put too much stock into it.
I feel like everything you just said I would be remiss not to go into this next topic. I mean, obviously Jorge was definitely the bridge between these, but everything you're saying right now speaks to the next topic we're running into. Seriously.
All right.
Colby Covington has moved up one place on the rankings, number 13 in the latest welterweight rankings. But this is not the most important part. I want you to just here's the context. He moved up a rank, and then we actually got a little bit of stuff with him. Actually, go ahead and talk about him ranking up first. Do that first.
I mean, just it's amazing. This is now the second time that this has happened. Colby Covington has moved up 2 rankings without having a fight in however many days. I think it's like 600 days or some crazy number at this point. That's, I guess, just the way that the rankings work. So I guess we shouldn't be too surprised by that. People drop off and it just kind of reshuffles itself. It is a funny thing in context, but chalk it up to Dana White privilege if you want, I suppose.
Well, chalking it up to Dana White privilege, I mean, he's going after somebody who has the most Dana White privilege that you've seen in a while. So we're going to go ahead and run down this little video real quick. Oh, hold on. Sorry, boys and girls. Now,
you don't believe Paddy Pimblett really has a future at lightweight because of the size, and he has to cut a ton of weight to get to 55. So you think it's kind of he gets older, he's going to have to make the move, so why not make it now? What about the Paddy fight interests you, I guess?
What interests me about the Paddy fight is obviously, we had our run-in backstage in Miami, and I was just walking by with the Mamacita, and he starts screaming at me when I'm walking with my Mamacita. I'm like, is that Paddy Pimblett? What are you doing, bro?
Can you pause it real quick?
Yes.
Colby Covington should never be allowed to use the word mamacita ever. Okay. This is just that off rip. All right. I want to say this very definitively and very clearly. I posted this on Instagram a while back, but I think it bears repeating here and now. Colby Covington likes to claim that he is, from Miami and he lives down in Miami or whatever. We do not claim him. Okay. Colby Covington, you have no place in the great state of Florida, sir. You are not one of us. Jorge Masvidal slept you for a reason. Don't stop mixing in Spanish lingo. Okay. Just stop.
Absolutely. And I want to give a quick shout out to my boy, North Nestility. Hey. Colby does sucks. We're going to go ahead and keep running down the video real quick, though.
Why are you screaming at me? He was just screaming like he had marbles in his mouth, and he was saying some little wanker shit. You're a wanker. I'm like, bro, what are you talking about, bro? Come say it to my face. And then 4 security guards have to carry me back. There's one little girl with his finger on his chest, and he's not doing anything. He's like, you're lucky. She's holding me back. I'm like, bro, it's a fucking girl, dude. If you're that tough, come get it, Patty. So what interests me is, he's got a little character. He's got a little charisma. He's got a little bowl cut and an English accent, so people give him a little hype. So, the fight makes sense because it's a UK versus American guy. It's going to be on the 250th anniversary of America, since our great independence in 1776. So it makes a lot of sense, a foreigner versus an American on American soil on White House grounds. So I think it's the biggest and best fight we can make at 170. And just like his doctors told him, he literally had a doctor checkup a couple months ago, and the doctor said, Patty, dude, you need to stop cutting all this weight. Like, your organs are going to fail one day. They said he had to go to the hospital. His organs were failing from cutting weight one day. So it's not like I'm trying to pick on him or he's a littler guy. He weighs more than me. He says he walks around at 200. I walk around at 190, 195. So we're similar size. Let's make the fight happen. It's the biggest and best fight we can do for the fans. And I just like the fight because he's got some interesting characteristics.
Okay.
I mean, this guy talking about anybody having character or being a character is laughable, of course. I mean, I think that that's inherently known. And then even more laughable still, him talking about being on the White House card. Get the fuck out of here with that absolute trash noise that you are spewing. That being said, he does make a good point about Paddy with his weight cuts. That is going to catch up with him at some point and be a problem down the road. But that is not the issue at hand, of course. And to think that this absolute jackass is going to be on the White House card in your fucking dreams, sir.
I just hate it because I'm so bought so easy on drama probably because I love the oh yeah, he had the one little girl in front of him putting her finger on his chest and he didn't want to do anything. And we got the chat over here, Kobe trying to rewrite history again, Kobe trying to stay relevant, Patty was eating pizza, Kobe yelled Patty, and then Patty started going crazy in Scouse. He called the cops, like oh my goodness, like everything is hilarious about this because it's true. I mean, everything the chat is saying is 100% true. But man, Kobe is so stupid that it's so funny. I'm
Well,
not gonna lie.
and this is what has always bothered me about Colby. People have the perception, or probably do have the perception, that like I just dislike the Colby character, and that is true. I do dislike the Colby character very much. But what bothers me specifically about Colby is that he doesn't play the character well. That is what bothers me. It's like we all see through it. It's the most transparent thing on the planet. That's why when he went to the White House, I'm like, the grift, the right wing grift has to come out. Oh, the spirit of 1776 is coming out. Of course it is, because it's paint by numbers with this guy. He is not even good at his own bullshit. That's what I don't like about him.
Colby is one of a kind, guys. If you do not appreciate Colby, you are honestly hating. But I think when you look at the rankings and what you guys see about him rising ranks, I honestly, yes, it is Dana White privilege at the end of the day. But if you really want to try to make sense of it, I mean, in a way, his last couple matchups are against people that are still ranked. Usman kept his rank, so in some fashion, he's still around the guy who kept his rank. I don't know if that's what you would want to say. I don't personally believe it, and I don't think selling the fight with Patty is going to necessarily get you anywhere. But it's not happening not happening at the White House is what I would say. I mean, you guys don't have any fucking belts, and we have 6 title fights to go on, and then Conor McGregor, like Thinker said earlier. So I would
Yeah.
like to believe that Colby Covington is not going to be one of our guys that are going to end up on the card.
Sure. And I also wanted to highlight Mank over here saying Colby could be on the White House because he's mates with Trump. Brother, that ended when he lost to Leon Edwards.
Yeah, true. Unfortunate. Yeah,
Yeah, because
I
Trump
hate that
was
for
right
him.
there at the front row for that fight, and he walked out without shaking that man's hand.
Yeah. Well, either way, speaking of Colby, speaking of Jorge, and speaking of, being able to keep Colby's rank somehow, some way, we obviously have to talk about the other person in this little trio here, Kamaru Usman. Apparently, what has happened is Kamaru Usman declined a fight with DDP, and he only wants "quote unquote" meaningful fights now. Whatever that could mean to him, I don't know. Because just a couple weeks ago, he said that he wants to get the lightweight, or not tomorrow. I'm sorry, the welterweight title back, and then he would like to move up and get the 85 title. So how is beating DDP not meaningful? I get at the moment right now because you want to go get 70, and that would put you in a position where now you're in a contender spot at 85, and then going back, whatever you want to say, mate. A fight with DDP, you took fucking Hamzat on days' notice. You're talking about meaningful fights. Go fight DDP, you fucking loser. Either way.
Yeah, I don't understand this in the slightest, actually. This was very baffling to me as well, because not only is it a meaningful fight, former champion, of course, but also based on what we saw in the Hamzat fight and what he was able to do to Joaquin Buckley just recently, granted different weights, but either way, I would think a very winnable fight for Kamaru Usman. I don't understand what he is getting at with this, like why he would turn this fight down. Now, I mean, the only thing I could think of is, considering his age, that maybe he wants to try to get to the belt quicker or whatever. But like, this just seems like a bad career navigation and a dumb excuse for not wanting this fight for whatever reason.
I'll honestly tell you what it is, and I don't think that this is necessarily a problem for DDP considering he faced Izzy. But there might be some beef. Not necessarily beef between like the team's camps, DDP and like Usman, but like South Africa and what was it,
Oh,
Nigeria?
Nigeria. Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
the African.
Muslim guys don't fight each other. Maybe they don't want to fight each other because it's kind of in this African guys.
I mean, if he had, yeah, I don't know, maybe if he had said that, then I mean, like, I say that, and then I'm like, well, maybe he wants to try to save a little face by saying, oh, the fight's not meaningful enough to him or whatever. But like, if that's the reason, I think that is a more valid reason than trying to pass this off as an unmeaningful fight when it quite clearly is.
Well, when listen, that seems like, and obviously we're not watching the clip right now, but like saying a fight with DDP is meaningful, that sounds like something you would say when you really don't know. Like, you don't know what you would say. It's just meaningless. It's like, bro, you know damn well that is anything but meaningless. You beat DDP right now. That's a fucking that dude defended his belt like 3 fucking times, guys. So
Well, that's what
I don't
I'm
know what to
saying.
tell you.
That's why I think it's just a dumb thing to say. Like if you want to play it up as oh, I'm not going to fight a fellow African, then okay. But like, I mean, honestly, more so. And I hate to say this, and I really don't. I don't. It shouldn't be this way, but I kind of think that Hydra might be a little. If it's going to be this, then this makes more sense to me. Is that there may be a little bit of a race issue because of the African connection there. I think that is a very outmoded way of thinking. But if there is any of that, of course, Dricus, in the past, his comments about being the king of Africa, and that maybe plays a part in all of that. So maybe it's too big of a risk for Kamaru in his own mind. I don't know. It should not play a part, is what I'm saying here. I think it's a winnable fight for Kamaru.
I actually think you're cooking, and I'm not trying to be that way, but like as Mank just said, if he beats Usman, he's literally the African king. I mean, he would have beat two of the champions that would have came from Africa, kind of deal. And it's not necessarily something that I think I would think about if I was in the position, but you know that the whole region of Africa, they look up to the champions. Kamaru Usman, Francis Ngannou, Israel Adesanya, and then DDP. He represents a smaller nation of South Africa, and because he is a white guy, he's not necessarily represented the same way. And I think there could be a little bit of an issue there. If Kamaru Usman is also the African guy who loses to DDP, there. I don't know. It might be. It just seems a little. I don't know. Taking that risk. I don't know. That's what I would say. Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, look, to me, it's something that shouldn't play a part in anything. I wouldn't think that should be something that would define your navigation of your career when there's like so much on the line, especially if you do have aspirations to reclaim belts and do a double champ as he's talking about. I mean, there's a lot of implications going on beyond this, and this seems like you're almost kneecapping yourself to an extent by having that mindset. But if that does play a part in it, then that's his choice to make, and he's the one that has to answer to himself, and I guess by extension to his community, etc.
Absolutely. Well, and then obviously it looks like he declined the fight with DDP, but maybe this plays a part into why Kamaru Usman has revealed that he's unlikely to be the challenger for Islam Makhachev. And obviously he can't take two fights at once, but not taking the fight that obviously saying it's meaningless, giving some bullshit excuse, not being willing to take a fight that actually is meaningful in a class that you say you're willing to go participate in a contendership for. Now, now you're just not going to get Islam. You want to ask for Islam, but we gave you an option. We want different things for Islam. You can't just jump the line of the people that we clearly think are worth it. We have DDP right here. He's just right off of a title shot. Do you want this, Kamaru Usman? No, I want Islam. Well, we can't give you Islam. We have DDP right here. Well, no, I want Islam. Again, DDP.
And really, it's not even that we can't. It's that we don't. We're not going to. Yeah, exactly. We won't. Right. So I mean, like, it's like, look, you got to realize. I think that Kamaru Usman maybe has a little and I hate to say this too, because I believe he deserves a higher level of respect in this sport, but I think he might have a slightly inflated sense of self when it comes to this. If that's the way he's trying to navigate this whole thing, because look. I've always been a person to say that, I think he deserves that the highest of recognition. I mean, he was a very dominant champion in the division. That's a while ago at this point now. Like the times move on very quickly in this sport. You were also never one of the most popular champions, even at your highest peak. So that being said, this is still the entertainment game. The organization's still going to do what they want as far as making the fights that they think are the biggest sellers. If they didn't think that was the way that it would be best working out to have you be Islam's next opponent, then you have to make them believe. You got to go out there and work like everybody else still, brother. I mean, like, it's not, you don't just get the opportunities because you have a name and your past. Like, you can't work that way. You don't have the star power to do that. Sad to say.
Unfortunately, I think I agree with you, even though I think with the legacy, I think Islam beating Kamaru Usman is just the resume builder that, he kind of needs compared to all the other, featherweights that he had beaten, people moving up to his weight class. You have short notice guys. Kamaru Usman on full camp, beating him would be a really good notch in his resume. But obviously, like it says, the UFC is looking for different matchups, and Kamaru Usman, It seems like you had DDP. At least that's what the situation we're reading. If we're wrong, mistake on us. But if you had an opportunity to fight DDP and you did not take that because you thought you were going to get something with Islam, bad navigation, and you should have understood that they were giving you a meaningful opportunity. You said it was meaningless because you think you're getting the fucking belt next. Brother, you beat Joaquin Buckley. Hate to break it to you. I mean, that's not speaking belt. So I
Yeah,
don't know.
absolutely. I mean, and now we got to find out who he actually does end up going against. I mean that like the other problem that Kamaru Usman is going to run into is that the the division has evolved a lot since he was on top. I mean, like there are some legitimate killers in there and some pretty good grapplers as well. So it's really going to come down to what they end up wanting to do for him. He really probably should have just taken the DDP fight.
Absolutely. Well, listen, speaking of fights, this is all we do around here. We talk about fights, and we're going to talk about one specifically, not on a Monday, but we have to talk about this one right here, right now, because it happened today. And there's a few other little things that I really want to run down because I think they're important to talk about. So, first thing we're going to talk about is just one fight on this fight card that happened earlier, Lux 59. We had our very own Ninja Ferret, guys. And if you did not know, she had won by TKO ground and pound. Unfortunately, if you double check here, her opponent was coming into this fight at 1-5. So she's 10-0 now. What do you have to say about her fighting someone who's 1-5 and then finishing her TKO ground and pound?
I mean, look, she's going the same route, tried and true, just like Gable Stevenson. So I mean, you throw him up against a couple of cans to build the resume up. It's a tale as old as time when it comes to combat sports. Nothing wrong with it. I mean, go out there and get your wins. She is still like 21 or something like that. I mean, if that, maybe 20. So she is very young still. I don't see this as a problem, but she might run into problems when they finally debut her in the organization. Even with the win here and on the Contender Series.
Well, I have to run you through a little loop here, and I swear it's gonna mean something. I'm gonna bounce just to another spot, and then it's gonna wrap all together. So this next story you heard about in the Discord, and we'll definitely have a fun little time. But I want you to just keep in the back of your mind that Julieta Martinez, the Ninja Ferret, at 10-0 in this organization, she's facing somebody who's 1-5. Just remember that.
Right.
Now, going into this next story, we have Montague is apparently out of her fight this weekend, okay, against Ernesta Kedetske. And she is out because, and not joking is what the tweet says, because of her period. Now, and this may not be true. This may be just some dude shit posting. This dude pops up a lot and he normally kind of cooks for me, but who am I? Who am I to say? I normally don't see women pull out for this reason, but if this is the case, unfortunately, this is the X-Ring girl, and if you look actually low, the source is her team possibly, but I don't know.
Yeah, Sofia Montenegro is the fighter here, and I believe Magic M I think is Mike Perry's co-host on Overdogs, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I either that or he has his own podcast or something. But generally somewhat reputable source, I would think. So I don't know. Like I say, if it is not true, then maybe it has to come out or whatever. I mean, he's saying that it was a teammate that said the information. Regardless, this is one of the things that I think, as I said about it in the Discord, this is something that is now going to be attached to your name as far as like information that the real like hardcore fans should be filing in the back of their mind. And that will stick with you because like this, what I had said too, is that like women fight in this situation all the time. I would suspect it's something that is so unthought about in the sport that I actually had never even considered it in my thought process of women's MMA. It's just something that you inherently know has to happen and is a part of your regular existence. Now, what was brought up is the counterpoint to that was that, oh, well, it could be particularly bad. Some women do go through it very, they have very hard times with it and all that kind of stuff. I understand that, and I'm not trying to disparage that aspect of things. What I am saying, though, is that this is a monthly occurrence for women. So you cannot necessarily dictate your career around your cycle. Like you are going to be offered fights. You have to take fights. Sometimes that they are going to line up with your menstrual cycle, and you just got to be okay with it. So if you are really trying to pursue a career in mixed martial arts, you got to figure it out.
Absolutely, I agree. I mean, in a way, that listen, as a woman out there who's listening, as somebody who's aspiring to be a mixed martial artist, you should take pride that if there is ever a time that you unexpectedly, and obviously because you can't plan this, when you're scheduling fights months out in advance, when you get there and stuff happens, you're going into the fight compromised at a sense. Tank it through. A lot of women do it. Unfortunately, it doesn't end up the way that you want it to be, but we've seen a lot of great performances. I can almost assure you at least 5 women that I've seen in the existence of mixed martial arts have been on their period.
Oh, I
So
mean, the number could be countless. We would never know. You know what I mean? That's the whole point, is that it's just a part of life here. And again, regardless of the actuality of it, the perception of it also changes for I mean, like, really, like, again, for the people who know about this at our level that are following the sport very closely, this is one of those pieces of information that is now filed away. This is something that is now attached to you. And why that it becomes important is Hydra's comment here. If period cramps are too much, then I'm confident a liver kick will fold you. Whether or not that's true is almost irrelevant. It's the perception at this point. So really, you've got a lot of ground to make up after something like this, if this is in fact true.
absolutely. Well, so the reason I bring this portion up along with the last, because uh, Montague is now out of her fight and she has been replaced by an opponent on short notice. And I'm going to show you this little graph here because I think it's very important. You have Ninja Ferret who just beat somebody who's 1-5, and as Mank would like to point out here, Ninja Ferret is never making it in the UFC if she takes three rounds to finish that can. Potentially so, but I want you guys to look at this list real quick. So what I have right here is your Latin Americans women's pound for pound list. Rankings last updated 16 hours ago. Now what you got here is Julieta Ninja Ferret Martinez. She's number ranked 2. But if you look right below her, this is your replacement fighter, Regina Kill Bill Taryn. She is the number 3 ranked Latin American women's in the pound for pound. Now, who do you think she was fighting if Julieta Martinez was fighting somebody who's 1-5? Is my question. If she's ranked higher than her and she's 3-round TKO, somebody who's 1-5, I would assume Regina potentially is doing worse if she's not ranked higher. What would you say?
What I would say is what metrics are this pound for pound?
This is Tapology.
Yeah, but I mean, what is the system here? Because why would any of these women be on the top of the list? I mean, I can't necessarily see all of them because it's a little bit blurry on my screen. But I mean, like, where is Eileen Perez on here somewhere?
This is non-UFC.
Oh, okay. This is outside of the UFC. All right, that makes a lot more sense. Okay, thank you, because that was that kind of threw it off a little bit. I mean, look, I just watched Combate last night and saw a young lady get a nice finish on that card. So I mean, like, where is she on this list? Maybe she is on here and I can't tell. But
Regina is also from Combate as well.
Yes, that is true. Either way, my point is that, like, I don't know if this list necessarily, like, tells the whole story as far as any of these fighters go, but you do make a good point. Like, if the Ninja Ferret has outranked this replacement fighter, then I don't know what her fights are, like how quick her finishes were. I do know that Regina Taryn does come in with a good amount of hype. Like, she's somebody who I had heard about a little bit from. Oh, there he is. Okay. She's somebody that I had heard about prior to all of this. So I mean, she has been finishing her fights. We'll see what she can do against Ernesta, but this does not necessarily paint the greatest picture, perhaps. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Have you looked into her record at all to answer the question?
I have not looked into anything at all. I would just like you to answer my question as of right now. We are picking the replacement picks. If you want it to count, you can make it count right now. It's do or die. You make your pick, or we say it doesn't count at all.
No, I think we have. Okay, the reason that I wanted to do this on the show is to say to all of you fine folks who are out there viewing and who watch our podcast as well, we are not always going to have the opportunity to do this. You know what I mean? Not all. Some fights drop out at different times. I think that the general go forward for this should be that if we do have the opportunity to do it, we talk about it on the show. We can go through and make picks for it. But if we do not have that opportunity, then we just void the fight as far as our rankings go, or not our rankings, but our position as far as whether or not we're right or wrong. So because we do have that opportunity for this fight, we will be picking, I say. And we'll go ahead, Chase. What do you think?
I am gonna continue with Ernesta Kadetsuke. This girl has a victory over Carly Judice on the Contender Series, split decision, and I don't think she necessarily won, but the judges did think she won. And Regina Taryn is supposedly as somebody who is accepted to the WWE Performance Center. So this is Denzel Freeman territory, guys. I just want you to understand.
Yeah, I mean, I think that really, as far as my thought process goes, it's kind of the same. I mean, Regina Taryn maybe has a little bit more of a finishing record than Sophia might have had, but the same basic concept stands. I mean, she's coming in fresh. She doesn't have any UFC experience. The fighters that she has fought, we don't know the quality level at that point, where, what she was going up against, how hard these fights were, etc. We've seen Ernesta. Ernesta is also very tall. I don't know how tall Regina Taryn is, but like that would also play a part of my thought process. So I also am going to go with Ernesta on this still, which was my original pick to begin with also.
Okay, all right. Just making sure everybody you saw it. We adjusted it on the fly. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And yeah, like I said, you guys can see we keep it all tracked here and we are locked in. And yeah, I'm excited to keep it going. But either way,
Had to make sure you got to the top so you could show off how badly you're
the points.
stomping me right now.
Yes. But no, I wanted to get to the top because I want you guys to understand that this next page is something else and it has something to do with Regina Taryn. And I think this is, I think that I have to talk about because I cannot stop unseeing it. Marcel is somebody who we take very, very seriously in the community because he is the official, fight news breaker for us. When he posts, I listen. But my problem is the use of AI to create Miss Taryn here, and I think this is despicable. And my tweet was not at the. Oh yeah, here we go. I had 2 likes, of course, but 3.6K people viewed it. Who provided you this AI render of Taryn? Like Jesus, this is horrible, and it's not the first either. This is not the first. This is
Right.
the second that I've seen of him do it, and this is where I'll go ahead and if you guys are listening, I will give Crazy Kev props right here, right now, for the one thing only. He will actually find a real pic of these people and post it alongside of his fight news. They may not be the right news, but it's a real picture of the person. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why Marcel feels the need to do this, honestly. The only thing that I can think of is because he wants to actually put them in UFC kit, because you can see the UFC logo on the shorts there for LeBlanc. But I mean, it's unnecessary. Like, we don't need to see like this represent. We know she's going to be in UFC kit at some point. Find a better picture of her and just use that. I don't understand why this is something that he feels the need to do. It is kind of goofy, and yes, it does give Regina Taryn a very uncanny valley look to her that is kind of eerie. She looks very spectral, I would say. Kind of ghastly would be a word I
Yeah,
would use.
she looks like a PS2 cutscene.
Yeah, very, very much so. Yeah, absolutely. She reminds me. I was just doing a little video walkthrough of my media collection, and one of the movies that I came across in the collection was Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within, the Final Fantasy movie that came out a long time ago now. She reminds me of what the characters look like in that film.
I think I know which movie you're talking about because I remember getting it and watching it and saying, "This has nothing to do with Final Fantasy."
Nothing whatsoever. It is Final Fantasy in name only.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, and you're right, absolutely. But yeah, I thought I would just bring it up. I mean, lazy. I mean, it's not like it's not the worst thing ever, but it's obvious that like you went into a service and you didn't just type in her name. You used pictures to like get this made. Like you would have to like pull from other places to get the AI to make this because if you go and type in Regina Taryn or Sofia Montenegro or any of these people's names it's gonna come up with fucking singers and people who do bands and fucking lawyers like that. You know how I know? Because I Google these people all the time. And nothing comes up on their images. It's like a fucking doctor and he's just smiling and it's fucking, these people, you have to have pictures to get these made. And then I find it fucking weird that you can't just post one of those. No, you go out of your way to do this. So it's just kind of interesting. But shout out Marcel, you're still the official fight news breaker for me right now.
True.
And yeah, absolutely. And this next one is crazy. And I want you guys to know out there, I want you guys to know that we are winding down to the end of the show. So if you guys have any other stories that I haven't gotten to yet, I know Hydra sent me some and we pulled up a few. We got to see Yuri climbing a mountain. But if you guys are out there, get your last minute stories that we haven't talked about yet. Get them ready because we're winding down. Because when you get to the end of the show, you can only do so much, but you have to reflect on the great times and the good times that you've had throughout the year. And I can tell you one of the better times that we've had right here on this show is talking about the GFL. They are coming
Yes.
back, guys. They are coming back.
We are so back, everybody. And yes, just to reiterate, if you do have additional stories and things that you want to talk about, the Free for All is your show as well. We would love to chat with you guys about anything that we did not cover already. So get those in the chat. But yes, GFL, again, we are so back. Look, you and I, Chase, we both the GFL I feel like has a special place when it comes to Yama and last week's fights and the stuff that you and I do together, because I feel like both of us were very fascinated by GFL. You know what I mean? It kind of like something that we both had like a fascination with, an interest in. We were keeping an eye on it. We actually, I think at one point even reached out to them to see if they, wanted to talk to us about anything that we could do. GFL, it like holds a specific position with us. And I think that my fascination with GFL mostly comes from the lofty endeavor that it was portraying itself to be. They had high level fighters that they had been trying to contact, or ones that were at one point, some of them a little past their prime, whatever. But they also were trying to do a profit share with fighters. They were doing the team based format. There were a lot of interesting elements with GFL that made it unique, and something that I was like, this could be a nice little way to shake things up, or at least occupy a different space within the MMA landscape that we don't currently have. When the GFL folded as spectacularly as it did, and all of what we saw as we were covering the GFL, it certainly was not a good look time and time again. It was multiple bad looks that ended up being the culmination of a failed event and what we thought would have been the end of the story. So to see this and them coming back, and to see Tyron Woodley on there and Benson Henderson on there and Alima Lay McFarland on, I'm like, how are they still doing this? Like, how is this reality, Chase?
Unfortunately, here's the case. Even the first time we started questioning, how are they doing this? How are they getting these people? How are these people involved? Why are they involved? We never got the answers, and then eventually we found out that a lot of them weren't, and they were just on the website because that was a name that they could stick to it, and potential investors and yada yada yada. So when you look at this page and you see Tyron Woodley, you would question, like, why would you ever want this dude like manning your councils? Like, he doesn't necessarily, whatever, X fighter, sure, but when it comes to whatever, Benson Henderson, sure, maybe potentially a lot better of a candidate than Tyron Woodley. But again, when you think about, are these people actually involved, we don't know, so it's just like up in the air.
It would be absolutely fucking absurd if this was another one of those situations. If these people who are pictured here do not know that they are part of the GFL, that would be absolutely wild.
Well, and obviously, this was not the first, or sorry, this was the first step to them making a comeback. We also got some more people that were, brick by brick, of course. This is what we're building. This is why we fight. Mike Goldberg is coming back for it, guys. And now again, is he? Who knows? Kat Zingano, obviously. And then Dr. Jen Welter. Obviously, we get a doctor on board. I don't know if she's, whatever she's up to, she's on the wellness performance, the Athlete Performance and Wellness Council. Shout out to them. Are they even actually there? Can somebody reach out and find out? Who knows?
Well, that's the thing. It's like, this is another reason this is so absurd in general, is that you have an event, you have all of the, we don't need to rehash all the details, but you have what is considered in the community to be a pretty monumental failure of the GFL to begin with. They go silent for months. And then now what we're getting from them, their first resurface, the first time they come up for air, is the announcement of their Athlete Performance and Wellness Council. Why is this what we are getting? It's every time that the GFL makes a decision or makes a move publicly, the question immediately is, why is this the move?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree with you, because what we were all wondering is, yes, how are your retired and your old fighters going to actually compete in this competition or whatever? So first things first, get the wellness out, the wellness council up. Obviously we should know that they're getting taken care of. When you have Junior Dos Santos and you have Cain Velasquez, who just got out of prison, when he's coming to compete in your GFL league, we should know that performance and wellness is A plus right now. There should be no issues on that front. But again, I just can't believe that they're coming back. It would have been fine if they would have just never brought it up again. Deal's done. We didn't make it work. We'll get another name. We'll try something else. But bringing back the Global Fight League, it's going to be a hard task because everybody who's in the know it, that this was a failed project and you can't put much stock into it because if fool me once, fool me twice, whatever you want to say. Hydra even said it just a minute ago. But and for them to overcome that narrative, they're going to have to work extremely hard, and they're probably not. Listen, turning profit is fucking hard in business. This is no, this is going to be hard for them. I'm just saying that.
I mean, the reputation is irreparably damaged off of everything that they have already done. And for this to be their re-step back into the arena just seems to be an odd navigation, like all of their odd navigations have been up until this point. So yeah, they've got a lot of ground to cover here to try to get back into any semblance of good graces with the community, and more especially and more importantly with the fighters. I mean, for all of these fighters who were on that roster, without their knowledge, and then for some of them, I remember we had talked a little bit about, I think it was Paige Van Zant who had said that they had offered her a certain amount of money and then didn't come through with some of it, or the offer was one thing and then it turned into another thing, and then there was the rumor that the main guy was showing people a screenshot of his bank account and that money wasn't there. There's too many big red flags being waved in your face when it comes to GFL. So, I mean, best of luck is all I can really say. Of course, we will continue to keep track of it. The GFL remains something that is interesting to us. So we'll see this thing through. You guys want to keep going down this road? We will travel down this road as far as you want to go with it and give you as much rope as you need to properly, rope yourself off the tree.
Absolutely. And I'll give a quick shout out. I know we're rounding down to the end of the show, but Sarah, we appreciate you for stopping in here before we ended. And of course, everybody else, Didgery Dave, Miss Didgery Dave, Hydra, of course, you guys are awesome. But yeah,
Absolutely.
this GFL stuff is just absolutely insane. Mike Goldberg, I don't think he's involved, guys. I don't know.
I mean, he was on the draft video, so I mean, he was at least involved at that point.
Listen, and I'm a tinfoil hat kind of guy, and I try not to be, but at heart, I cannot help myself sometimes. When you watch that GFL draft video thing, you cannot help but think it was pre-recorded and fixed with AI, and the AI that they have in the trailers and stuff is so bad, but like it's like crazy to believe like maybe this is just all some smoke screen or something.
It could
Maybe
just be a
something's
big,
going on.
yeah, it's a big simulation. Maybe this is like a psyop. This
Yeah.
is one of those the space laser psyops that we've heard so much about, perhaps. But either way, what I did, you brought up Goldberg. What a ride or die. I mean, this is why the UFC really should have done better by Goldberg when they were showing him the door, because this guy sees what the GFL is doing. He recognizes that it's probably a whole bunch of horse shit, but he's in it. He said he was going to be there, and God damn it, Goldberg shows up.
Absolutely. I love to see it. A lot of people would have jumped ship after the first time you go bankrupt before the business even starts, but it takes a real special entrepreneurial mind to stick it out here.
Sure, that is certainly one way to say it.
Yeah. But this was a crazy story. I think this was a very good one to end on, but this was the last story that I was able to bring out for
Oh,
this
well,
week
then
of the Fridays.
then I do have one more. If you go into your DMs, I sent you one other thing from LinkedIn that actually is a perfect segue from this. So if you want to bring that up, I do have something that I would like to talk about with that. I'll give you a second to do
I
that.
know which one you're talking about. Yes, I did miss this one. You
That's
are
good.
correct.
Well, there you go. And this is a perfect segue. So we just talked about the GFL. And as I said, the GFL was a team-based system. So it was going to be teams of fighters. They were going to be competing for their teams. And there was going to be some type of point system with the teams, et cetera. We never really got the full understanding of how that all was going to work. This here is something that is interesting to me because while GFL floundered their initial opportunity, they squandered that. Event did not go down as planned. And now they're trying to pick up the pieces and come back. This gets announced. This is the UCL. This is the United Combat League. And there's a couple of people involved in this. I won't go into too much of the details of the individuals just yet, but a couple of people that I'm connected to are involved in the creation and eventually the promotion of this league. And it also is a team-based MMA league. So this is going to essentially be a direct competitor to the GFL. So really what I had thought initially when this was announced, this was only announced a couple of days ago, but what I thought was this was a group of people who recognized a hole in the market, so to speak. The GFL did not go off as it was supposed to. We have the opportunity to come in and do it correctly. That's what I thought. But now GFL, apparently, the ghost of GFL lives. The dead speak over here when it comes to the GFL. So now you've got this potential rivalry that could be brewing between the UCL and the GFL, and we're just going to have to see how the cards all fall with that.
I'm excited about this. I would love to be able to see the team model kind of evolve. When we see it start out with the GFL and they obviously get 3 promotions and then fucking burn and crash, and then we see this one start, and we see how far they make it. I like the team model. I like the idea that you can root for a mixed martial arts club kind of deal. Having like some fuck, I don't even remember the fucking clubs. Either way, this is actually pretty cool, and I would love to keep up with the team sort of management style of this.
Well, Chase, I am very glad that you say that, because I don't want to speak too prematurely here. And, this is just as, I see Hydra say, the thinker makes sense as a LinkedIn warrior. Brother, bitch, I am about my business. So that being said, I am in contact with someone who is involved at a very high level when it comes to this promotion. I'm not saying that anything necessarily is going to come out of it, but there are conversations that are going to be happening. And who knows, we might end up being involved in some way, shape, or form if something makes sense. Of course, obviously, we are not going to be sacrificing anything that is Yama related or last week's fights related. All of the normal content that you know and enjoy is going to maintain. But if there is some additional little way for Chase and myself to get a little piece of some pie somewhere, somehow, we'll talk. That's all I'm saying. Just want to leave that there.
So if anybody out there is listening, Thinker is going to be the one in charge of getting us roped into a new GFL scandal, but we'll leave it at that for now.
I am thoroughly vetting every opportunity and doing all of the due diligence. Trust we are not going to be in Mike Goldberg's position.
Hell yeah. Hopefully not.
No, yes. But look, I like I said, it's just something that's interesting to me. Again, very, very preliminary and any of that kind of stuff. I'm not, I don't want to oversell anything that's happening as far as conversations go. My point is that it is interesting to me, though. And like I started off the story with, the fact that there could be 2 promotions trying to do the same concept maybe leads one to believe that there is some actual interest in it that maybe we're not aware of. I don't know about that part. That is what I said early on in the GFL thing in general, is that, is there actually a fan desire for it? Now, you said, Chase, that you are interested in the team dynamic. I do think that it's something that I have not seen necessarily before, so maybe there's some value to it as a novel concept, something that is new to the landscape. But either UCL, GFL, whatever it is, I think that there are a lot of questions that need to be answered. So it's interesting to me that there would be 2 organizations doing this.
Okay, hear me out. So the PSYOP. So you have a company who has an idea that everybody can't believe is possible. It crashes and burns before it even sets off. Then you magically have this new rival company that has the exact same idea that, well, you give a little leeway to them because it's not the stupid one. It's not the one that's already failed. They obviously have a better idea. They're starting off. Now this other one is starting back up, creating a rivalry. Now this is creating the interest. Like, who's going to do better out of these? These are 2 new ideas and they're going to compete. But what if they're the same thing? Like, what if they're the same people? What if the GFL is just made, again, as the smoke screen here? This is the real one that they were starting off, or the one that they actually are going to try to actually make work now. But
I at least can confirm that the people who are involved at the high level of GFL are not the same people at this. So
that you know of.
That is true. That is true. That I know of. That, I mean, I am aware of several of the people involved at the higher level here, but I cannot confirm other involvement. So we shall see. But I do think it would be a little bit crazy. And crazier things have happened. But I think it would be a little bit wild to think that the GFL people still trying to do GFL and then also involved in this as well. Like, that would seem to be a conflict of interest.
No, they bring up GFL just to the point where we can laugh at them, but be like, "No, this is the one that works over here. Like,
I
this
see.
is the good
Yeah.
one, but look at that one over there. They're so stupid, they can't even get off the ground. They have all these people that they fake act like they're gonna work for them, but this one over here, that actually works. Like, why can't they be this one? Why can't
That's
they
a
be this great product right here? Like, this is why it's so easy for them to do it, and they can't even get their first promotion to
no,
work."
yeah, that's the deep psyop for sure. Yeah, that's some social engineering
Yeah.
if that is the case. But again, like I said, we are business minded. Making money moves is what we are about. So the conversation will happen and it will be vetted as such.
Absolutely. And sometimes I do this for the idea that somebody someday is gonna go find all my tinfoil hat compilation moments, and they're gonna let me know. Like, I'm losing it. I'm gonna lose it over time, but as of right now, GFL, I got you. I'm on to you.
Well, brother, there's never been a better time for it, considering a large amount of files that recently came out. So,
I heard the Yamma files are getting released, and
uh,
Hydra, what are we saying?
the Gamma files are a myth.
Yeah.
I'm leaving it at that.
But absolutely, everybody, this was another great stream. Let's go ahead and give another shout out to the chat. Everybody that's been here. Beeb was here at the beginning. We didn't get to see him much more, but I appreciate him for being here. Mank, of course, Hydra, Didgery Dave, Tasteful Thickness, Bleeding Edge, North. Am I missing it? Miss Didgery Dave,
Yeah.
Saratobi.
Saratobi, of course. Jeremy Hall was here a little bit. Also saw Jesse Dunaway coming in. Apparently,
Oh,
LFA.
Jeremy Hall.
Yeah, Jeremy Hall. Yeah, and Jesse Dunaway as well was letting us know that LFA is on. So I think a lot of people over there watching LFA, perfectly acceptable reason to be not on the stream tonight. So if you guys want to go over to watch LFA, of course, that is a fine thing to do. We do open the floor up at the very end to anybody who have any additional stories. So if you'd like to get those in now, you can. But yeah, we appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for being here. I do have a little theory that Mrs. Didgery Dave might be the alt of the actual Didgery Dave, but I don't know.
I can't confirm or deny, but allegedly that is also what I'm thinking. And Jeremy, appreciate you for being here. So,
Absolutely. Thank you, Jeremy. You are the man, brother. Actually, something I will say. I mean, I don't know I hope that this is not information that's private. So forgive me if it is. But Jeremy Hall mentioned in the Discord that he is potentially going to be competing in a Muay Thai competition coming
yeah,
up here
Jeremy's the
soon.
Muay Thai guy. I appreciate Jeremy. He's got to dude. Jeremy, one championship Friday mornings. You got to tune in, dude. We are watching Muay Thai and we love it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was a good time. I was able to catch a good amount of it this morning. Always fun. Like I say, people, if you are up on a Friday morning, I'm sitting there, I don't drink coffee personally, but I got a little bit of my Red Bull, my morning Red Bull to get the day started. I'm reading my newspaper, the version of that I do, basically getting the day started with the Red Bull, getting a little bit of, the wake up my brain video games in and hanging out with Chase. That is a great way to start your day.
Hell yeah. And Hydra Lux on Fight Pass. Yes, we know. We already got to see our girl Julie Etta Martinez get the TKO in round 3 against a person who is 1-5. We know she's on the way to the UFC for another Contender Series bout. So just shout out you one more time. Never mind, Lux is done. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, true. Yeah, no. I mean, I think that that's going to be the end of it for today for us. I would say, we do the free for all. Probably not going to be doing any additional fight watching this evening, but of course, guys, that you've got plenty more around the corner. We got UFC tomorrow night. Sunday, I don't want to say it and then not do it, but I'm thinking that I might try to do RWS on Sunday. Maybe big maybe right now, guys. You got to bear with me because Sundays are my reset day where I kind of like get myself ready for the next week. And since I've been dealing with this bum ankle bullshit, we got to play that one by ear. But you definitely know that we've got fights tomorrow, and we certainly will be here live for the UFC on our individual watch alongs.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, this was definitely a fun stream. I appreciate everybody for stopping by one more time. The chat is awesome. You guys supporting us is really going to get us to the next level. And hopefully we get to hear back from our guy at the UCL or whatever this is over here.
I will keep you abreast of any conversations that are fit for public consumption. And Jeremy, I will certainly be going into detail about Inca and about Combate Global on the podcast on Monday. So, we do last week's fights. We talk through all the fights that we watched for the previous week, all the promotions and stuff. And that's where I will go into detail about those fights.
Hell yeah. Everybody, once again, you guys are awesome. And yeah, shout out to Jeremy Hall. Appreciate everybody. You guys are awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us for this one. You are the best. We will be live tomorrow. Of course, you can find me at youtube.com/@YamaShow. And Chase, where can they find you?
They can find me at youtube.com/@CPSmalls.
There you go. I am at Yama Show on Instagram and on Twitter and on Facebook. Guys, make sure you are following the socials as well. And we will be back tomorrow for UFC. So you guys have a great rest of your night, a great start to your weekend. And as always, fight on.
Game.